Hello and welcome to another episode of today's GK. I am Pooja Trivedi, and in this segment we bring to you objective questions on a daily basis to help you crack prelims. So let's begin with the practice question of the previous segment. Which of the following is not an Indian government's initiative related to overseas Indians? Pravasi Kaushal Vikas Yojana, Vajra, Strive, New India Program. The correct answer is option C, that is Strive. Now, Pravasi Kaushal Vikas Yojana is to institutionalize the process of skill development of immigrant Indian workers. Scholarship program for diaspora children. 100 scholarships per annum are granted to persons of Indian origin and NRI students for undergraduate courses. New India Program familiarizes Indian origin youth from the range of 18 years to 30 years with their Indian roots in contemporary India. E-Migrate system is basically a foreign employees database which ensures that welfare and checks on exploitation are made to immigrants. And Vajra is formalizing a rotation program wherein top NRI scientists, engineers, doctors, managers and professionals serve Indian public sector organizations for a brief period, lending their expertise. Skills Strengthening for Industrial Value Enhancement Project is a World Bank assisted Government of India project with the objective of improving the relevance and efficiency of skills training provided through industrial training institutes and apprenticeship. Let's move on to the next question. With reference to the Kala Azar, consider the following statements. It is characterized by irregular bouts of fever and substantial weight gain. It is caused by a virus called Leishmania. It is transmitted through the bite of sandflies. We have to select the correct statement. It is not caused by a virus called Leishmania but a parasite called Leishmania. So, second is incorrect. First is also incorrect because it leads to substantial weight loss and not weight gain. First and second are incorrect. Third is correct. The correct answer is option B. For the first time in 8 years, Jharkhand reported a death due to Kala Azar in the state even as the total cases continue to decline. While 752 cases were identified as positive in 2015, the number of provisional cases in 2021 till November, if we talk about 2021, it was 242 as per the data on the National Center for Vector-Borne Disease Control portal. Visceral leishmaniasis, also known as Kala Azar, is characterized by irregular bouts of fever, substantial weight loss, swelling of the spleen and liver, and anemia. It is caused by a parasite called Leishmania and transmitted through the bite of sandflies. Moving on, consider the following statements about cess. It's not C's, it's cess, okay? A cess is an additional tax imposed with the purpose of raising funds for a specific task. Article 250 of the Indian Constitution prohibits the sharing of cess with the state governments. We have to select the correct statement. First is correct, second is incorrect. Option A is the correct answer. Different from the usual taxes and duties like excise and personal income tax, a cess is imposed as an additional tax besides the existing tax with the purpose of raising funds for a specific task. The union government is empowered to raise revenue through a gamut of levies, including taxes, surcharges, fees, and cess. It generally is paid by the everyday public. It is added to their basic tax liability, paid as a part of total tax paid. Article 270 of the Constitution allows cess to be excluded from the purview of the divisible pool of taxes and that the union government must share with the states. Article 250 mentions the power of the Parliament to legislate with respect to any matter in the state list in case of emergency. Cess should be kept as a separate fund after allocating it to the Consolidated Fund of India and can be spent only for a specific purpose. Moving on, consider the following statements. In India, the right of witness to testify freely in courts is a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. The Malimat Committee report is associated with the recommendation of a witness protection scheme. We have to select the correct statement. Both are correct. The correct answer is option C. Okay. Let's move forward. In 2018, the Supreme Court approved the Witness Protection Scheme 2018, which aimed at enabling a witness to depose fearlessly and truthfully. Under the judgment, the Supreme Court held that the right of witnesses to testify freely in courts as a part of Article 21. The scheme will be the law under Article 141, 142 of the Constitution of India, and the bench has also asked all states and union territories to set up vulnerable witness deposition complexes. Recently, the Supreme Court expanded the meeting of vulnerable witnesses to also include, among other sexual assault victims, those with mental illness and people with speech or hearing impairment. The SC directed that all high courts adopt and notify a vulnerable witness deposition Center scheme within a period of 2 months. The news and need to protect witnesses has been emphasized by law, commission reports and court judgments for year, and the state of Gujarat versus Aniruddha Singh. 14th Law Commission report and Malimat Committee report has recommended a witness protection scheme. Consider the following statements regarding the Agreement on Agriculture. It is aimed to remove trade barriers and to promote transparent market access and integration of global markets. The subsidies for environment protection and regional development programs are included in the green box. The measures to support prices or subsidies directly related to production quantities are included in the amber box. We have to select the correct statement. All the three are correct. The correct answer is option D. Recently, while addressing the G33 virtual informal ministerial meeting, India's Commerce and Industry Minister pointed out the imbalances in the Agreement on Agriculture at the World Trade Organization. This is aimed to remove trade barriers and to promote transparent market access and integration of global markets. Green box in there, subsidies that do not distort trade or at most cause minimal distortion are there. They are government funded and must not involve price support. They are also including the environmental protection and regional development programs. All domestic support measures considered to distort production are kept in the amber box basically, and that fall into the amber box as all domestic supports except those in the blue and green boxes. These include measures to support prices or subsidies directly related to production quantities. Moving on, which of the following languages was the earliest form of Old Hindi? Prakrit, Urdu, Sanskrit, Apabhramsha. So the correct answer is option D, Apabhramsha. Hindi got its name from the Persian word Hind, meaning land of the Indus River. Turk invaders in the early 11th century named the language of the region Hindi, language of the land of the Indus River. It is the official language of India, English being the other official language. Hindi is also spoken in some countries outside India such as in Mauritius, Fuji, Suriname, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago and Nepal. Hindi in its present form emerged through different stages during which it was known by other names. The earliest form of Old Hindi was Apabhramsha, and the modern Devanagari script came into existence in the 11th century. Which of the following pairs are matched correctly? We have to match the harvest festival with their state or region. Vangala, Nagaland, Nuakhai, Odisha, Onam, Kerala, Ka Pomblang Nongkrem from Mizoram. So we have to select the correct answer. First is incorrectly matched. Second is correct. Nuakhai belongs to Odisha and Onam of course to Kerala. And fourth is incorrect. So the correct answer is option B. Let's see why. Now observed a night before Makar Sankranti, Lohri is celebrated by those in North India as a traditional winter folk festival or as a popular harvest festival of farmers. Let's talk about different harvest festivals of India in which we talk about Bhogali Bihu. Every year in January, the entire state of Assam showcases enthusiasm and delight in celebrating Bhogali Bihu. On the day of Bihu, the mejis or pavilion made of clay and hay are burnt. Vangala is the merriment of 100 drums played by the Garo tribes of northeast India. This is one of the popular harvest festival of India, marking the onset of winter. During the festival, sun god is worshipped with immense devotion, and Meghalaya and Assam is the region where we celebrate it. Okay. Ka Pomblang Nongkrem, the inhabitants of Khasi Hills, worship goddess Ka Blei Sinchar and celebrate the plentiful harvest with vigor and excitement. Ka Pomblang Nongkrem brings ultimate joy and happiness to the community, and Meghalaya is the state in which we celebrate this. Nuakhai is an age-old harvest celebration in Odisha. Locally, Nua means new and Khai means food. This is not only a popular harvest festival in India, but also celebrated to appreciate the passing away of the past and evil days while welcoming the new and beautiful with open arms. Onam is a legendary harvest festival of Kerala, celebrated with great enthusiasm in different parts of Kerala. The festival is celebrated for 10 days with the arrival of Mahabali. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. With respect to Gaganyaan, consider the following statements. The geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle Mark III launch vehicle is to be used for the Gaganyaan program. It will use solid fuel engines. We have to select the correct statement. First statement is correct, second is not because it is going to use cryogenic fuel engines. So one is correct. Indian Space Research Organization has successfully conducted qualification tests of the cryogenic engine for Gaganyaan human space program. The Gaganyaan program envisages undertaking the demonstration of human spaceflight to low Earth orbit in short term. The objective of Gaganyaan program is to demonstrate the indigenous capability to, of course, undertake human spaceflight missions to lower Earth orbit. As a part of the program, 2 unmanned missions and 1 manned mission are approved by the Government of India. The GSLV Mark III launch vehicle to be used for the Gaganyaan program will use 2 cryogenic engines. Moving on. The engine developed by ISRO is named as Vikas. So, the success of Vikas engine signals a great breakthrough in the Indian manned mission to outer space. Who amongst the following has never been appointed as the chairman of ISRO? Dr. Krishnaswamy Kasturiranjan, Professor M.G.K. Menon, Professor Udupi Ramchandra Rao, Dr. G. Satish Reddy. So the correct answer to this question is option D. Let's know why. Eminent rocket scientist S. Somnath has been appointed as the new chairman of the ISRO as well as the space secretary, and he will succeed K. Sivan, who completes his extended tenure as ISRO chief. Mr. Somnath will be the 10th chairman of ISRO, and he is currently the director of Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. Let's talk about the former chairpersons of ISRO. Dr. Vikram Ambalal Sarabhai was the chairperson of ISRO. Then followed by Professor M.G.K. Menon, Professor Satish Dhawan, Professor U.R. Rao, Dr. K. Kasturiranjan, Shri G. Madhavan Nair, Dr. K. Radhakrishnan, Shri A.S. Kiran Kumar, Dr. K. Sivan, and Dr. G. Satish Reddy is the current chairman of DRDO. That is why it's the incorrect option, okay? Mekedatu project has again been in the news through the Mekedatu Padyatra. With respect to it, consider the following statements. It will be established at the confluence of Kaveri and Arkavathi rivers. It was proposed in 1985. So we have to select the statement which is or are not correct. First statement is definitely correct. Second is not because it should be 2013. Option B is the correct answer. The controversial Mekedatu Balancing Reservoir project is back in the limelight with the Congress party launching a 100-kilometer long Padyatra demanding its implementation. The project will actually come up at Ontigondlu, about 1.5 kilometers from what is known as Mekedatu, literal meaning is goat sleep, at the confluence of Kaveri and Arkavathi rivers, and about 90 kilometers southwest of Bangalore and 4 kilometers from Tamil Nadu border it is. The project was first announced in 2013 by the then Law Minister during the Congress government, and it primarily aimed at supplying 4.75 thousand million cubic feet of drinking water to Bengaluru and surrounding areas, but will also generate 400 megawatts of hydroelectric project. For this, Karnataka wants to construct a concrete gravity dam at Mekedatu with a storage capacity of the given number. Recently, Pandit Munna Shukla passed away. He was a maestro of which amongst the following art forms? Shehnai, Kathak, chicken curry, flute. The correct answer is option B, Kathak. Kathak dancer Pandit Munna Shukla passed away at 78. He was the grandson of Kathak maestro Achan Maharaj. Pandit Munna Shukla began his instruction in Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh under the aegis of his father, Sundarlal Shukla. He was awarded the National Scholarship for Advanced Training in Kathak in 1964. Let's know about Kathak. The roots of the dance trace back from the Sanskrit Hindu text on performing arts called Natya Shastra, written by ancient Indian theatrologist and musicologist Bharata Muni. Native to North India, it is one of the major Indian classical dance forms. Originated within Hindu temples as a storytelling device for portraying the epic tales from Hindu scriptures Mahabharata and Ramayana. And during the medieval period, Kathak became an established part of the court culture. Okay, let's move forward and talk about the practice question. Consider the following statements. The periodic labor force survey is conducted by the Ministry of Labor and Employment. Quarterly employment surveys conducted by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. We have to select the correct statement. So, that's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.